half of the renovation was done when I wasn't here. I left it in somebody's hands, and it wasn't done by the time we agreed that it was going to get done.
By how long?
Well, it's still not done.
Oh.
So that's why.
How long were you looking for a place, and how long did it take you to actually buy it once you found the place?
Sometimes it'll be in the listing, but you won't look at it. And not until you're here, then you're like, okay. Then months afterwards, I found out that there's not enough water pressure here.
Were you looking for apartments yourself, or did you have like a real estate agent that had listings for you to look at?
So do you think it's going to be harder for someone who doesn't speak Spanish?
Well, this part you can put on your video. That's fine. It's like an open
It's almost
area.
like a prison, really. There's no windows down below. Everything is like up high.
Higher.
I think.
Yeah, but you could look. You could in the back. I'll show you guys. Sorry, because they were working there. I wasn't able to show you too much.
Think about the
Okay. Hi guys, my name is 𝗪𝗂 from Everything is 𝗪𝗂, and one of the few things that happens to us when we're out in Valencia is sometimes we bump into one of our viewers, and today we bumped into Rob.
Hello.
This is Rob.
Hello.
And he was kind enough to invite us over to his house and show us around and tell us a little bit about his story, and we're happy to share that with you today.
Yeah.
Yes,
So I'm Rob. Nice to meet everyone and all of the channel's followers. I'm quite excited to talk about my process and how I got here. So yeah.
Yeah,
let's start.
Thank you
No
for
problem.
having us, Rob. Yeah,
No problem.
it's
Yeah.
really nice to be able to see, be welcomed into someone's home. It's very special, definitely.
Nice. I appreciate that.
And so tell us a little bit about yourself. What are you doing here in Valencia?
I'm Rob. I came here to Valencia just on a whim. I came because I lived here in the 1990s, late 1990s. And I wanted to see what the real estate market was in Valencia. I lived in Barcelona, went to Madrid, didn't really like it much. I spoke with a friend and I asked her, well, Barcelona, Valencia, and there's a place in Murcia called Águila.
Okay.
That's a coastal town because I come originally from Puerto Rico, I grew up in Miami, so I'm very close to the ocean in many ways. So I wanted to be close. And my friend was like, you know what, go to Valencia, see if you like it. So 2 years ago, 2023, my job at the time gave me leeway to leave early around March. I left in May. So I was here in May just seeing, I got to stay in the city center in 𝗪𝗏 and just see the layout to see if I liked it or not.
Right, and then so far, what did you think, like first impressions of Valencia?
I really liked it. I was working in China time, so that means that China is 6 hours ahead. So when it was 2 o'clock in the morning, people were getting up to work over there at 8. So I would be up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I would just host my meetings while walking in the city center, trying to look at the life at that time, because usually that is very representative of dodgy things that could happen at night.
Nothing good happens at 2 a.m.,
exactly,
right?
Yeah,
that's the saying. Yeah.
So, and I saw that nothing was happening. I was like, this is really great, because ultimately, I also want my if I move into a city, I want my parents to come and visit and feel safe, not always have to look over their shoulders or anything like that.
Right, like you don't want them to always babysit them when they're out.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And I noticed that, if that place, which is very much kind of like, it's not well lit, not the best, it's very touristic, nightclubby. So if something were to happen, where tourists or people who are not from here might, things might go sideways, that will be the place in many ways. And it was super safe. It was very nice. And I was like, okay, then I think this is a place that maybe I could settle into and start looking for a place.
So tell us about that process, because you bought this place.
Yes, correct.
Right.
Yes.
So how long were you looking for a place?
Yes.
And how long did it take you to actually buy it once you found the place? Yeah.
So I started in May when I got here, towards the end of May. So that means really around May-ish, June. I had already been looking at Idealista. I was looking through there because I was also looking into Italy, in a city in Italy. And then I just said, well, I lived in Spain. Let me see what it's like. And I had a couple of appointments through Idealista. Some people were kind enough to answer. I know that's something that a lot of expats get. They're like, oh, I sent a message. Nobody ever responded to me. And real estate agents here, for the most part with me, they were really helpful. One tip that I'll tell any of your followers or anybody who's looking into it is that if you come here into Spain or any other country and you try and look for property, try to get a SIM card. And when you give out your number, make sure that it's a local number.
I see.
Because a lot of people will look at the zip code or not the zip code, the area code, and then they'll be like, I don't know that number. This is just somebody wasting my time. But if you use a local number, first of all, they'll probably think you speak the regular language, though you might not know Spanish that well, but they'll work with you and at least they'll call you. So that's my first tip right off the bat. Make sure that you get a local number. Use that number to contact people with, and you'll probably see a higher return rate of phone calls. It also helped that I speak the language. I'm a native speaker. So when I communicated, I wrote in Spanish, and when I call on the phone, I would talk to them in Spanish and stuff like that. So it helped a lot. But yeah, I got to see before I found this place, which was a help. To be honest, I wasn't even looking at that point because I had just given up.
You've given up.
Yeah, well, yeah, I had a short term left before I had to go back to work.
You're here in the limited time frame.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then I was just kind of like, well, and then this place has happened by pure coincidence.
So how many did you view before this one?
So I viewed about 20 to 15 properties before this one.
Wow.
So when I came in, I came in already having an itinerary.
Right.
And then obviously things pop up. But one thing that if you guys don't know is that Spain, everybody in Valencia goes on holiday in September, late July. People are already shutting down to leave.
Yeah.
So that means that if you're going to get stuff done, do not come in July. Do not come in August.
At all. No.
Yeah, or even September. Towards the second end of September, then you'll see more listings happening.
Right.
So yeah, so try to come in earlier in the year or later on in the year. Don't come during the summer because it'll be rare.
Nothing works.
Yeah.
Nobody's here.
Well, basically,
Nobody's
especially in Valencia. Valencia people leave to the mountains or they leave to Galicia.
Right.
So yeah, once again, for me, there's this thing in Spanish, lo que es para ti, nadie te lo quita. What's for you, nobody's going to take it away. It's the direct translation.
I see.
If it's meant for you, it's meant for you.
Right.
Basically. And this place, in many ways, was just pure coincidence.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So for when you found it finally,
Yeah.
how long was that process? Was it just a few days? Was it months? And
No, so the negotiation literally took about 5 minutes.
oh,
So I came and saw it. I was fortunate enough that the owner also owns, it's a family building, and the owners had different, with his brothers, own different floors. So it's not like they needed the money. But there was a person interested who kept on giving them the runaround. Mm-hmm. And they were just really upset at this person giving them the runaround. So
very wishy-washy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so then I came in and I saw the place. I was interested. I had to, because I do want my parents to come here and feel like home. So I let them see the place too. It's like, hey, would this be a place that you feel comfortable coming to? And my mom and my dad were like, yeah, it looks great through video. So I was like, great. So let's start the negotiation. That literally happened where we met at the coffee shop.
Right.
That's where I was having that phone call. And then that happened. They offered me something. I counter offered. And
You offered down.
yeah, I offered down.
Yeah, right.
It's just started the conversation. They offer something, I'm going to counter offer. And if I say lower and they say no, we can, and then we go our separate ways, and we go our separate ways. But it was also a place that was outside of my price range. Mm-hmm. I had a certain expectation or a certain budget.
Right.
So also when communicating with my parents, I was like, hey, they're offering this much. I'm going to counter offer, but I'm going to need cash because I don't have it.
Right.
So that means I need you guys to be my bank.
Mm-hmm.
And
the
my
bank
parents,
of mom and dad.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And they were like, sure, you know what?
That's cool.
And they knew how much I had in cash at hand. So they're like, okay, yeah, we can offer you a loan and then you just pay us back when you can, type of thing.
Right.
And I was like, fine. So then I offered something, they counter offered, and then I was like, look, let's just meet in the middle. This is my final offer. If not, I have X amount of days left. I'm not gonna wait. I'm not gonna waste your time either. And then she called the one of the brothers. He was like, fine.
That was it.
And that was it. Yeah, that was
the
it.
5-minute phone call with mom and dad, and then there's the offer.
Yeah. Basically, that was it. And I'm pretty sure she knew I probably could have offered less, and she would have been okay with it. But I think it was also a fair balance, a fair compromise. Even though this property ended up being worth a bit more when they did the survey, and even the bank guy was like, oh, you got it for a good deal.
Good deal,
Yeah, and
yeah.
I was like, okay, that makes me feel comfortable.
Right,
Like, I
right,
didn't
right.
know-
That's good. That
when the
makes
bank
you feel
says,
good.
yeah, when
right,
the bank
yeah.
is just like, oh, you actually got it for a good price.
Very cool.
And I was like, all right, perfect. So then you asked how long that process took. So the negotiation took about 10 minutes. Then the paperwork. Obviously, I didn't have the cash on hand because it was an X amount of money and I only had. So the real estate agent had. She worked with different banks before and she needed the contact information. So one of the banks, Santander, was offering a variable and a fixed. Their fixed was a little bit higher than 𝗪𝗏𝗀𝗃𝗃, which is a bank that I went with. And they did a fixed rate.
Okay.
So I felt more comfortable with a fixed rate because that way I could plan out my payments until the end, which is a 15-year payment. And then I went with them because, what took longer was for them to verify my income. Even though I had more than enough according to the bank rep, but they just needed to make sure where my money came from, if it was legit, which it was, and all that stuff, and make sure that everything was dotted and all the T's were, slashed, and that was it.
So like in terms of like time period, how
That
long
took
have
about a
you-
month almost, 3
Okay.
weeks. It took longer on their end. Yeah, because I had everything already done.
I see.
Yeah, I came in many ways. I came prepared. I looked at the requirements because I was also looking into what a visa would have been like. So I knew I needed bank statements. I needed everything to stay here longer term. So I already had all the paperwork, and it was just a matter of just giving it to them. And I already had it. I use a company, an online bank that a lot of expats use. So it was easier for me just to translate it into Spanish, just change the system settings,
Yeah.
translate it into Spanish, and send it to the bank.
Right, right. Yeah.
And that was it. Then once that was done, then it was basically a matter of getting an appointment over at the notary for us to sit together and
get the keys.
Yeah, get the keys basically, yeah.
Very cool. So not a super long process.
No, and once again, I just kind of got lucky because there was no runarounds. And I knew, so there's different steps that when you buy into a place that I skipped over that you should do. For example, if you're into a place, see if there's any debt or any liens on the house. That's something that everyone should do. I kind of skipped that because I knew that the owner owned several apartment buildings here, and there were no liens on it.
Right.
So I overskipped that step. I did get a lawyer to look at my contract and stuff like that. I did look at the engineering aspect of it, so to make sure that it's a sound structure and stuff like that. And once again, since I bought from the owner who owns different apartments in the building, and they own the building basically for many years, and I was like, okay, there's certain things that I can kind of move over. But I would advise everybody to hire an architect or an engineer, an electrician, and just to look over the place. Because ultimately, these apartment buildings in Spain, for the most part, if you do like one, they're going to be older. And there's going to be stuff that is going to come up. I redid the whole wiring here because I also got solar panels. So I wanted everything electrical new. I wanted there not to be any hiccups. If there's a fire, they blame this, they blame that. It's like, no, everything is new. So that's a cost that I added onto it that I knew was going to happen. But yes, get an architect, get an engineer, get an electrician to look over the place, make sure everything's sound before you buy.
So I have a question.
Yes.
So you're saying that when you looked at the apartments, you already brought these professionals with you, or when you saw the final apartment?
No. So I did an initial viewing.
Okay.
And then I said, hey, I'll offer this, and you leave a deposit. But then you once you do like an intent, you could there specify in the intent that it's based on, passing certification, or an electrician coming in and approving it, an architect making sure that everything's copacetic, and then there's no liens on the house.
Right.
So you're gonna have to contact different people. Especially in an older structure. If it's a newer structure, then you could skip the electrician, the engineer, or the architect because it's a new structure.
Right. The new build, right?
Yeah, exactly. Recent. But this building is over 100 years old, and this apartment was built, I think, in the 40s when there weren't that many good materials during the Second World War and when Franco was here. So there's some things, even when they were doing the renovations here, where they're like, oh, that wall, we chiseled it a little bit to put the line in, and it almost fell. So they had to replaster and strengthen the wall, because that's just the way buildings were made during that time.
Right.
So I mean, the outer layer is fine, but the inner layer, it's just tricky to navigate. And I knew that coming in. I bought into an old place because I like old places.
Right.
You know, that's why.
So then my question is, what are the worst apartments that you've seen? Like, have you viewed apartments that are like weird looking or weird structure? Like, what are the worst that you?
Well, I skipped a lot of the lower tier end ones because I wanted something that was almost basically ready to move in. And I'm not going to rent an apartment somewhere or a hotel because renovations take months.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I wanted something that was going to be ready to be moved into. And if anything, I had to do minor work, not gut out the place completely.
Right.
So I skipped that. And then what I did was that I looked at places. Some of them were dirty, they weren't kept up, but they were in a good neighborhood. So it was just a matter of just remodeling, like the walls, painting them, taking out old tile, stuff like that. Stuff that was there from like the 80s. That's just like not pleasant to the eye anymore. You know?
It was cool back then.
Well, that's pleasant to the eye anymore. I did say that. I did say
but
that.
if you wait long enough, it's gonna be cool again.
Yeah. You're just gonna have to wait for the.
Maybe. I got some tiles I can show you guys out there that they left from the 80s that was never cool to begin with.
That's true.
But yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you not too bad. You haven't seen.
No,
anything
because
that's too
I
bad.
also, I used different websites, Fotocasa, Idealista. I looked at another one, Habitat or something like that, or Habitación, something like that. It began with an H, but they also sold apartments, and they were all very similar. So it was just a matter of just skipping over, you know, the 50,000 euro houses or apartment. But you're not going to get anything good in the city center if you do find something like that.
Right.
So you have to look at a certain price, over 200 and above, to find something that's close to the city center that's in a good condition, you know, almost ready to be moved into. Anything lower than that, then it's kind of in a dodgy area or it needs a lot of work.
Man, that makes me sad because when we moved here, December 31st, 2021, the 150 apartments were great. They look so nice, but then now you're saying it has to be over 200.
Well,
in 2023.
In 2023, yeah. So I saw, even then when I got here during that beginning part of the year, I saw one in El Central close to El Mercado, and it was like a ground level apartment, and it was about 150, 160.
Ooh.
And it was right next to the street to the Irish pub that's in the road to Mercado.
Mm-hmm.
There's a corner pub in black.
Yeah.
Right.
There was one there that was like a ground floor. And then I looked at it, and then my mom looked at it, my dad, and they're like, there's no windows in that place. The only window is like the door frame.
Right.
And the light coming in, it's like, you're basically in a cave all day long. If it's raining, you're just like in darkness. And I was like, yeah.
But the location.
But the
was
location
nice,
was
yeah.
like ideal. I was like, I walk out, and then the world is right there.
Right.
So, because whenever people ask us, like, what do I look for when I look for an apartment to buy or rent or whatever, we always say, look at the neighborhood first.
Correct.
And so in retrospect, like after buying this, how do you feel about the old neighborhood that you were looking at versus this neighborhood? And has your point of view changed?
Oh, I mean, it changes. Not only do you kind of like, if you buy a place, you have to want to like it, right? So
Right.
my original place ideally would have been closer to the city center. But then I didn't find what I have here in the city center, which once again, it was by pure coincidence that I found this place. But these are details that I would have wanted if I moved into a place. You know, a balcony that I don't see my neighbors. That's great. A terrace that's pretty ample just for me, and I can just relax, exercise, have friends over. Nobody really has a terrace here. Everybody might have a balcony, but there's not that aspect of it. So to me, it hit a lot of things on the head, where if this place would have been in the city center or here, I would have chosen the city center by far. But the place, the layout was just here, so then I have to like it here in a way. And Ruzafa is not a bad place. So, I mean, the gastronomy here, the restaurants are way better in many ways than the city center.
I agree.
Which are more touristic based over there. Here is a lot of tourism, but also still a lot of local joints still a lot of mom and pop shops. So to me, it's just like, you know what? That's a good array of things. So I'm quite happy with it. I'm close to 2 Michelin star restaurants on the street. And there's a lot of other international foods around within walking distance. So, you know, and also equally to the train station. That's also very important. I want it to be close to the train station to come in and out of the city. So yeah.
Not a bad trade-off.
Yeah, most definitely. And I don't get massive hordes of people going through my building or my street in tourism. There's tourism that comes this way, but they're usually walking in small groups. It's not like in the city center where it's just like a horde of people, you know.
Especially when the cruise ships land.
Yeah.
That's when they dock, I mean.
Yeah.
It goes,
Cruise ships and
right,
tourists,
there's just like a group of them, like 20, 30 people just walking through like a small alleyway, and you're like, get ahead of them, get ahead of them.
Imagine if you got the ground floor one, because we live in the 5th floor. No, we live in the 4th floor.
4th floor here, 5th floor in the
Yes.
US.
Yes.
So we live on a higher floor.
Yeah.
And whenever, especially Saturdays, whenever we look at the ground floor units, there's people peeing outside of there.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
And this is Ruzafa. It's not even the touristy area.
Yeah.
So imagine the touristy.
The old town, yeah. Especially on the side streets.
Hosing.
Well, yeah, and there's people who walk dogs and then they don't clean up after the animals either. So the smell of urine is sadly in a lot of places. Here, at least they have like the guy, what is it? The hockey machine.
Oh yeah,
𝗬𝗵𝗫 that drives around watering and cleaning the streets. Yeah. So at least if you wake up early enough, you'll see it. I sometimes wake up and I look out the balcony and I see it. I'm like, hey, this is 𝗬𝗵𝗫 driving around.
I'm gonna call it the 𝗬𝗵𝗫 now.
Yeah, that's what I call it though, but that's what it looks like to me.
It does.
Yeah, so it just cleans the streets. So it's kind of nice to see that at least they maintain the streets to a certain extent, and people also wash them off at times.
Right.
But people should clean up after. That's one thing I don't like about here and a lot of European countries in general. People don't clean after their dogs, or they don't spray the water bottle on the and most of the people who are buying 𝗬𝗪𝗏, which is a beach area, are expats that are slowly gentrifying the place, which is fine because we're all expats, but they're basically just buying the buildings there, renovating them, and then they go on to like kind of tourism websites and stuff like that for people to stay there. So that's also another issue that local people have, and I didn't want to deal with that and stuff like that. So I was like, you know what, I'll just skip that place. I don't want to renovate. It's still kind of shady area still late at night. It's not that dangerous, but you know they have issues with people staying there who are illegal staying there. So I was like, I don't want to deal with much of that either.
Right.
Yeah.
So did you find the place? Were you looking for apartments yourself, just contacting everything on like Idealista and Fotocasa, or did you have like a real estate agent that had listings for you to look at?
Hey everyone, we've got something new to share that we think will really help if you're planning a move to Spain.
If you've been following along our journey, you know that even though we went to Spain sight unseen, we didn't just move to Spain without a clear plan. We did the research, mapped the process, and now we've turned everything we learned into practical tools to help you do it too. We just launched a free course and 2 paid mini courses on our website, the Spain Starter Kit. This is where to begin. It walks you through the basics, what to research, what to expect, and how to turn your Spain move into reality. The Moving to Spain Timeline and Checklist. This is your complete step-by-step roadmap. We tackled the visa research, the hidden costs of moving to Spain, timing your application process, and how do you pack your life into a few suitcases. If we did it, it's in there.
The Spain City Guide. We listed down 47 cities, not just the big names, real places that people are actually moving to. You'll get honest, bite-sized info on cost of living, healthcare access, climate, walkability, schools, airport proximity, and where to get free tapas. We wanted these mini courses to be short, practical, and grounded in our experience, to share as much information as we can without overwhelming you. And we're coming up with more. It took us 1.5 years of planning before we moved to Spain and another 2.5 years of living in Spain to finally receive Spanish citizenship. That means 4 full years of hands-on immigration experience of navigating Spanish bureaucracy from scratch. From securing our initial visa through the LA consulate to renewing our residency and eventually applying for Spanish citizenship. No shortcuts.
So if you're serious or even just curious about moving to Spain, check out the courses on our website. And don't forget to follow us here for more practical tips, honest advice, and full guides every week. Spain isn't just a fantasy. With the right plan, it can be your real life. So let's help get you there smarter.
Now let's get back to the video.
So it was both. When I first got here, there was a guy who works at a real estate agency in the city center. He was really helpful in kind of breaking out the areas, the districts close to the city center. So he educated me a lot, and he took me around different properties. But then I also contacted people outside of him.
Like for yourself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like
At least that I would just call, and then when he would get a new listing, then he would, hey, I have this listing. Do you want to go see it? And I mean, for the most part, I'm here to look, to walk around. So I made sure, first of all, that on my spare time, I walked every street up and down. See it all day. So not everybody has the time I had. But I just basically sat down in the morning and in the afternoons or the evening, see the contrast of the life there. But I walked around. I got to see all the neighborhoods. And then when he told me, hey, I have this property here, do you want to go? It's like, yeah, how about we go tomorrow or 2 days from now? And then I will go that day and I will check out the neighborhood. I will sit there, I will eat there, and I'll kind of scope out the atmosphere.
Before you go.
Beforehand, yeah. Because then I don't want to waste his time. It's like, oh, this place looks dangerous, but the house is nice. Yeah, no. I got my parents to consider.
Very considerate of you to do that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to waste anybody's time. Right. I don't want to see a place that I know I'm not going to like, and then he's going to show up there, and I'm going to be like, already like, no. But he educated me a lot of the layout and the history of Valencia. And then my place I found because I had contacted 𝗬𝗏𝗧𝗏 about another property that was way out of my price range, but it had a really nice view, and I wanted to see how nice the view was. I literally had time to kill at that point because I think I was about to give up. Or I was already in the terms of like, oh, well, I might not find something, and it's okay. Then this city is not meant for me. That's basically the way I looked at it.
That's cool.
I was like, then I'll go, and it was between here and Trieste as far as me looking at properties to buy. I was like, well, maybe Valencia is not the right place for me, and that's fine. So I saw this property. It overlooked the bullfighting area, and I wanted to see if I can peek in there, because if I could, that would be kind of nice. But it was way out of my price range. So then I went. I told the lady right away. She's like, just let me know. I called her within half an hour, and I was like, look, I'm not really interested. I don't think it's worth it. And to be honest, it's also not in my price range. And she's like, she completely agreed. She's like, yeah, it's not worth it. So
I love the honesty.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I no longer was interested. So she could say, hey, yeah, it's not worth it. But if I tell her, hey, I'm interested, then she's like, oh, it's at a great price. That's what they'll tell you. She wants her commission. Right. But she agreed at the end. I was like, fine. And then out of the blue, she calls me about this place. And she's like, are you still looking? I'm like, yeah, sure. Whatever. I got nothing better to do. I think I had like 2 or 3 more weeks. So I looked at it, I liked it, and then I needed to leave for like 10 days. Because if not, I would have been overstaying my visa. So I went to Morocco for like 2 weeks. And that's when the bank was doing all the diligent work. I basically have nothing to do here. Right. So I'm like, let me leave so I don't overextend my visa. And then not visa, but Schengen visa, which is 90 days.
Right.
And then I'll come back when I need to, just to sign the documents. So I literally just came back. I was here for 1 week, signed the documents, and then like, okay, I gotta go. I gotta hop on a plane and go back to work. And that's basically how it happened. It was by pure, coincidence, serendipitous, I guess.
Right. All because of your curiosity to see the view of that other place.
Yeah.
And see the bull ring. And
see the bull ring and stuff like that, even though I knew that the place wasn't worth it. But I was like, I got time to kill, whatever. I got nothing to lose by this.
And it worked out for her.
Yeah, it worked out for everyone.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. I got to move into this nice little cozy place. And yeah, I'm quite happy with it. So I think your next question was going to be renovations.
Yes. Because there's always something to find.
Correct.
To fix.
To me, the place was great when I first saw it. There was a lady who lived here, a single lady. So it worked out because I happened to be a single gentleman. So it was laid out in a place where it was for somebody who's single.
For one person.
For one person, yeah. I mean, you could fit 2 people here easily, but it was just like her layout was just, this is it. She had the desk that's in the bedroom now was here, and she worked here, and then she slept in the other area, in the bedroom. And I kind of liked the layout, and then I was like, okay, and I liked the way she had it maintained, super clean. And I was like, okay, I like the way she has it. So if I could literally buy the place as it is, that would be perfect. But it wasn't. She kept a couple of things. She took them with her, obviously, and then I was like, okay. So some of the stuff that I wanted to get redone was I had an electrician come in, and he said the wires are messy. He showed me the boxes because here, unlike the United States, the apartment buildings have little grids outside of every single door usually, and you'll see them. So you won't see them inside usually, you'll see them outside on the hallway. And he opened that, and it was just like a mess of wires. He's like, you don't know if that belongs in this room and that way, so if I pull, I don't know. And this wiring was done a while back ago. So then I was like, well, if I want solar panels, I'm going to have to get that done. I just want to get a whole new electricity. Then months afterwards, I found out that there's not enough water pressure here. And that also had to do with the fact that these buildings had old piping. They're cast iron pipes, so they get corroded inside really easily, especially after a couple of years. And then this being the top floor, it had problems with pressure. So then once I did the renovations and they realized, oh, they're like, do you want to change your piping, the inside? I was like, yeah, because when you turn on the faucet, a bit of rust comes out at the beginning. I wasn't aware of that. Obviously, if you use the place constantly, you don't see that. The tenant was here forever. She never saw that.
Right.
But if I leave the place usually closed for like a couple of weeks and I turn on the water line, then I would see it and then I'll be like, oh, crap. So I was like, yeah, do that. And then once again, I knew that these walls inside were going to be kind of weird. So when they were chiseling down, they're like, yeah, that wall's really fragile. So they needed to reinforce it, which is fine. That means the place is more structured now. It's more solid. But little things like that added up. I'm also very fortunate that my bathroom and my kitchen are right next to all the pipes.
Right.
So they didn't have to like do massive pipings across the house. It was all just right
contained,
there. Yeah, all continuously. So I got to remodel the bathroom, which needed to be renovated either way. The kitchen stayed the same. And then the walls were of a different shape. So a lot of these apartments, especially in Spain, they don't build them with insulation. Okay. So if it's 100 degrees outside, it's going to be about 110 inside.
20, I was going to say.
Yeah, 120 inside. So in here, they added an extra, like a bit more, like an extra 2 inches to insulate. So it sounds hollow because of the insulation. And then on the ceiling, they added heavily padding. So these ceilings actually are a lot higher. They're about an extra 1.5 feet taller. So they're called false ceilings. So that's what I wanted to, so I could save on electricity and the heat.
Is all up there.
So yeah, so it brought it down. It saves on electricity and heating and cooling.
Right.
So yeah, so all of that stuff was done. And then inside, there's going to be, the flooring is going to be redone next, because the wood needs to be changed in here. That now they have these wooden floors that are not really wood. They're some type of ceramic, or they have noise cancellation, and they're also waterproof. So, because that leads to the outside, and then there's some of the wood over there that's damaged because of the water. The doggy thing, the wind used to blow that in, and the rain will come in. So yeah, it's like a never-ending little process. But now 90% of the job has been done.
Right.
Now it's just kind of like fine-tuning. Oh, and the doors need to be redone, because the doors are warped.
It's very pretty.
The doors are nice and they look nice if everything looked old like it originally was. But now that there's modern parts, the doors kind of like don't fit in. They don't close properly because the wood is old. And the thing about Valencia is that it's hot and humid. And then in the winters, it gets cold and dry. So then wood warps after a while. That's what it does. The humidity expands, and then when it gets dry, it shrinks. So the doors are old and they don't close properly. So you have to like kind of fight with them to lock them. So that's hopefully the last renovations, the floors and the doors, and then that's it for a long time.
So how's the renovation process like when you're talking to contractors? Do they come when they say they're gonna come? Do things get done when they say they're gonna get done?
So half of the renovation was done when I wasn't here. I left it in somebody's hands, and it wasn't done by the time we agreed that it was gonna get done.
By how long?
Well, it's still not done.
Oh.
So that's why. So, but things did happen, to be honest, along the way. So one of the things, like when they were redoing the electrical wiring, we talked just about renovating the bathroom pipes. And then when he was doing the piping, he's like, hey, the piping for the water to go down is equally as, bad. Do you want to change these? I'm like, do they need to? He's like, yes, because ultimately now you have all this water coming in. On the way down, it's gonna get stuck. So that means that your system can back up. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know what? That makes perfect sense.
Right.
Fine.
So I saw your elevator.
Yes.
And it can fit 2 people.
Yes. 3.
3.
3. Yes. But there's another elevator.
With me, just 2.
Yeah.
With you, just 2, right?
So how did you get furniture up here, for example? Like the big boxes.
Oh, I strapped it on my chest. No.
Your mattress.
No, but I showed you one elevator.
Okay.
So we fancy here.
Oh, really?
No, we have 2. No, we have 2 elevators. So one of them gets you to the floor below.
Okay, which is that was the elevator that's fronting the lobby, right?
Exactly. That's the one on the same ground level floor.
Right.
And that one's a tad bit bigger. So that way you can fit the mattress easily and stuff like that. But then you just have to carry it up one flight of stairs.
Okay.
And that's fine.
All right.
But for stuff that's difficult, like for the solar panels, they never measured how big the solar panel was compared to the elevators. And then when they tried to go up this first floor, the panels were too big, so they couldn't even hit the curb. They had to hire one of these big old cranes to come in and then bring it up to the terrace on my neighbor. And then for my neighbor, then they had to carry it up to the roof.
They couldn't even get it towards your side.
Well, no, because then they have to, it was taller.
Right.
And it would have blocked up too much traffic here. But if they did it there's like a little triangle there next to that place. And then they were able then to host it there and then just carry it. Yeah, but the renovations, obviously if we have somebody managing people who knows where things go and how things should get done, it's a lot easier. But since I was coming in and out, a lot of the heavy stuff I wasn't here for. And there was also a lot of dust because once you chisel into these old walls, it's all dust. So for a lot of that, it was just kind of also a lot of video. Hey, send me a video. Let me know how things are looking. Yeah.
So do you think it's going to be harder for someone who doesn't speak Spanish to get all of this, to go through all of this?
The renovations, you mean?
Right. Because I feel like it's better if you just hire someone to be like the
manager, project
foreman,
manager, the foreman, yeah. Well, this part you can put on your video. That's fine. So I think in every situation, it's better if you speak the native tongue. Because you can communicate with people clearly and you can set the expectation. Nothing's lost in translation. It's the same thing when you guys go to the Philippines, you guys speak your local language there and you guys know how to talk to each other in a way where it's just like, all right, we need to get stuff done. And then here, if you don't speak the language, then you need a mediator. Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of like stuff always gets lost in translation. Okay,
so that means that when we buy a house, we call him. He talks about.
There you go.
Let me get my friend on the phone.
Hey, when I'm here, I don't mind helping out. I'm always glad to help out with people. But I heard you guys speak your Spanish. You guys aren't so bad.
No.
So it's okay. But I think first of all, it depends on the vibe of the people you meet. The guy who I met, who's not, he does mostly a part of the job. He overextends himself. That's his biggest fault. So he tries to do the job and well, but he overextends himself and then he has like 100 different jobs. He does the same job. He's an electrician, but he has different jobs within the community. Mm-hmm. It's not due to sheer laziness or he's just like, no, it's just like he's
too many things.
Too many things at once and he doesn't have any help. Mm-hmm. And he's like all over not the city, but he's over the whole province of Valencia. So sometimes he'll be out like 2 hours doing a job 2 hours away, or in Segundo, and then he has to come all the way down here. So I'm like, I get it. And he charges me an affordable price. He's been here a couple of times. He was here once because I had no electricity. I'm like, hey, only half the house has electricity. And then he's like, okay, fine, I'll be there at like around 10 o'clock at night tonight.
At night?
For example. So yeah. So it's little things like that. You just have to know, you have to have the ability of knowing how somebody works. Can you deal with that pace? And do you trust that person to get the job done? If the job's going to get done, but he needs extra time, then you know what? Then that's fine. He'll do it well. He just needs extra time. And that's it. And there's some company, once again, who just clear out everything in a week and do everything in a week. But then you also pay an exorbitant amount of money for that.
Right. So if you're patient and time moves slower here in Spain.
Oh,
right?
yes, most definitely. Yeah. So that all depends, to be honest, and on your comfort dealing with people. So yeah, but speaking the language is, I think, a must in many ways if you want what you want. But there's also many bilingual people here. So don't be afraid about not speaking Spanish or not knowing people, you know, who do not. There's a lot of Germans. There's a lot of English-speaking people. There's a lot of Dutch here. So there's people who speak all sorts of languages that can help you here.
Right.
Yeah.
So did you hire a real estate lawyer? Because we've actually interviewed a real estate lawyer in one of our videos.
Yeah.
And of course, obviously, he's going to say, yes, you should have one. And so did you hire one? So
yeah, I think I mentioned, I didn't go into great details, but part of it is getting a lawyer. I had a lawyer go over the contract. Mm-hmm. Find him online. Mm-hmm. And then I kind of looked at the feedback that people gave on different agencies before I chose him. He lived not too far out. I sent him the contract. He looked at it. And then he rectified a couple of things. I sent them back to the 𝗧𝗵𝗫𝗫𝗫. And then she came back and she was like, oh, he made great annotations to this. This is great. I'm going to use this as my template now. And then one of the owners of the building works for a law firm here. And then he's like, oh, I also had to look at my lawyers to look at it. And they were like, okay, yeah, the guy knows his stuff. So it was by pure coincidence, but I would say hire a lawyer at all times. The same thing as I mentioned before, architect, electrician, make sure everything is copacetic within. And also the lawyer is supposed to look at if there's any debt attached to the property, or a notary can do that too. But if you hire a lawyer to look at the contract, he can also do that. And just make sure that they do that as one of the steps when you hire them. Because you don't want to buy a property that owes 80,000 euros or 50,000 euros, and then you're stuck with that debt. Yeah. Yeah,
you're stuck with it, right? Like
correct. They won't. You know, it's not added to the price.
No.
You just find out like a month later. It's like, oh, there's a lien on the house or a lien on the apartment, and you owe this much money on it, and you're liable for it because now you own the property.
Well, I don't know if I don't remember if you talked about this earlier, but then people need to also remember that when they bid, it has to be
lower.
Yeah, it's usually
the
lower,
culture
right?
here is that they post it higher than what it's worth.
Like 1
right?
million.
Yeah, but that, even in the States, it's like that for the most part, or less. There's buying frenzies, which happens in every single cycle, in every single real estate cycle. Like in Miami, when my parents bought, there was a sell price and you bid lower, and then, but if everybody's buying, then you have to overbid. That's just the way the cycle goes, right? So you have to know how the market is. If the market is, if you notice, let's say, Idealista, you could look at the history in Idealista. If the same person has a listing on, you can see when they posted it.
Right.
I know some real estate, like one of the real estate agents that taught me about, he would take out his listings after 2 weeks and then redo them all over again. So they look like they weren't there for a long time.
Right.
Some people are not that attentive. Some people will have the listing there forever, for like a year. So if you look at the listing and you look at the price and you see that it's not moving, it's been there for a year, then you know what? Don't bid that price, underbid.
Right.
Be here, walk around, see the listings, and see each building is worth differently. Some buildings have an elevator. That means that building has a lot more value. The building next to it might look nicer in the facade, but it has no elevator. That building, the housing should be worth lower.
Right.
Because it has no elevator. But these are things that you don't, sometimes it'll be in the listing, but you won't look at it. And not until you're here, then you're like, okay. So I would say those are all little things that you have to look at when going through Idealista. But yeah, I underbid just because I felt like it. Because I'm used to always trying to haggle.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah.
You should.
I mean, this isn't
Yeah.
a brand new place. If it was a brand new place and says 340, 400, then it's brand new. It's asking
Right.
price. I'm not going to negotiate so much. I can't.
So what has apartment living been like here for you? Like, do you get along with your neighbors? Is that something that people also have to consider? Like, I know some people who they would talk to the neighbors before buying the flat. Is that something you did?
So I talked to the person who rented here, and I asked her, and she told me, oh, it's calm and stuff like that. The next door neighbor the apartment is owned by the same family who sold me mine. So she's also very quiet. She's like, oh yeah, everything's quiet. So one thing too also that you'll notice is that once you move here, you're somewhat going to have interactions. You're going to be forced to have interactions with your neighbors because there's a community meeting that happens of owners. And that's something that in the US, it doesn't really happen, a meeting of owners. At least I never saw my parents going to one. So when I wanted to get my solar panels installed, it was like part of the agenda. So I had to bring that up into the agenda about solar panels. But then there were neighbors who were like, oh, what's the study on that? Or no, I don't really feel comfortable with having solar panels up there. To me, which it made no sense. But you have to deal with each individual personality. So ultimately, you are going to have to interact with your neighbors. You're going to have building politics be a part of that. And that has something that I've had to navigate. Like, even though I have a terrace and I have to clean it, it's still considered a community terrace. So if I built anything onto it that's a permanent fixture, I have to bring it up into the meeting. I want to build this in my terrace. Can I please? Where it's my private terrace.
That you paid for.
Yeah. I mean, it's not included. It's funny enough, it's not included in the property line, but it is included as perk of the property. Because it's a communal terrace, a private communal terrace.
That you only have access to.
Exactly, yes. So that's part of the irony for me, because I had to ask that question like 3 times at 3 different times. It was like, okay, so it's communal terrace, a private communal terrace. Does anybody have access to it? Only you. Okay. So once again, another meeting. It's a private, because I just wanted to make sure.
Because the communal.
Yeah, communal. And then the fact that other people have a vote in what happens there. So technically, I don't have to paint this. I could go downstairs and say, hey, you guys, we all need to pay for my terrace to be painted. And they'll come in, they'll analyze it. Okay, yeah, it needs to be painted. No. I just bought paint and I painted it. I painted a color that blends with the building. I'm not going to put neon green.
Right.
I'm obviously going to be somewhat respectful of the building color. I was only looking at properties that were on the top because I wanted solar panels installed. I want to become somewhat energy independent or have to owe less to the energy company. And I have to ask permission for that. Like, oh, it's part of the structure of the building. It interferes for that. And then you have to be responsible for the ceiling. Because that's, if it leaks and it goes down, then obviously that becomes a structural issue.
Maybe the reason why it's called communal private properties because you have to invite them over for barbecue, and then you do the meeting here.
I think they can wait for that invitation. It'll get lost in the mail.
So how often does this junta happen? It's called the
And
junta.
where-
right?
and where
but they happen seldomly. They happen like probably twice a year.
Right.
Where usually a lot of buildings will have a book of laws. There's no book of laws here that the neighbors have agreed to. Somebody has it. But I've asked for it twice, never shown up. So that's also something that to look into when you move into a building is that you're also going to have to deal with the politics of the building. And if you're somebody who can get along with people rather easily, then that's great. If you're a private person, then that's going to bother you. And if you're horrible with people, then be prepared to deal with people.
Well, don't move to Spain if you're.
Or
Don't live in an apartment.
Don't put it in an apartment building.
Yeah.
There's a couple of chalets within the city.
Right. So what is it that you wish you would have known before you went through this whole buying process that would have like eliminated a lot of your headaches through this whole thing. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to our channel and clicking the notification bell. Shout out to our subscribers for always being awesome. Thanks to the people who support our channel by subscribing, commenting, giving us super thanks, and tipping us with our Buy Us a Coffee link. If you want to pick our brains and book a 60-minute consultation, we have a link for that, and we can give our honest opinions about topics that we haven't covered in our videos.
Thanks to the people in our Facebook group for being awesome members, for generously helping each other.
I was kind of prepared for everything. I think the thing that I did not expect was just the community meetings and how political they can be. But the buying process for me was kind of easy. But it all came down at the right time. And I know people do not have that experience. I know people have places where they drag on, somebody pulls, just weird things happen. I've been accepting also of the fact that this place is old. And there's things that are bound to break and don't work. But yeah, things are always going to go sideways. And that's something that you should prepare for, financially, specifically, if you buy a place. One thing that I would tell people is when I bought this place, they say, hey, you need A, B, and C amount of money. They say about 40% deposit and then 60%. But then there's the furniture, all this other stuff. So I would say it's actually more like an additional 20%. So it's 120% basically. I was fortunate enough to overcalculate when I bought this place. And I also had my parents and my brother as a bank. But even when I asked for a loan from them, I had overcalculated what my expenses were going to be, knowing that things were going to go sideways. And if you save that money, that extra 20%, then that's great. But if things are going to come up, then just spend it. Not spend it recklessly, just spend it wisely, but get it done. And then that way, when you settle into your house, you're just like, put your feet on the table and you're like, nothing needs to be done. Rather than like, oh no, that needs to be done. That needs to be done because I saved.
You look up and you're like, crap.
Yeah, you have a list of stuff to do, and then you're not really comfortable in your own house. So I would say don't skip out on those stuff, things like that. Just if you're spending already money on it, spend it wisely and spend it well to get it the way you wanted to get it.
Cool. Thank you so much for today, Rob.
No problem. I hope this is useful to everyone out there. I know my experience is different from everyone's, but yeah, I hope it's helpful.
It's been very helpful. Even for us, like there's things that we still don't think about or, so yeah. Thank you for today.
No problem. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.